So guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. So guys, David Haye says that if Tyson Fury walks down AJ the way he did to Deontay Wilder, that AJ will knock him out early. Now, a lot of people, when it comes to David Haye and giving his prediction about Tyson Fury, they always feel like David Haye's unfair on Tyson Fury. He never gives him a fair shake, and there's some kind of bitter beef there. There may be a little bit. I don't think David Haye hates Tyson Fury. I think he probably, maybe he's a little bitter that they didn't fight, and the way Fury went on after, years after. Maybe David Haye has some after effects of some of the stuff that Fury said, but I think he's got over it. I do think he realizes that Tyson Fury is a special fighter, and I don't think David Haye initially, when he first, I think when David Haye first saw Tyson Fury, I thought he thought he was a joke, and he probably thought that with Tony Bellew. David Haye's done that with a few guys, but I think David Haye realized over the years that this guy's actually very, very good and he can fight. But I think when David Haye was initially going to fight Tyson Fury and the fight fell through, I think David Haye thought Tyson Fury's not very good. And I think he thought he was almost dismissive of Fury. Like, Fury's nothing, I'm going to destroy him. And actually, when you go back at that time, although Haye would have been a favorite, it would have been great to see that fight unfold because, like I said, Tyson Fury is a master boxer. Now, at that point, I don't think he was that developed, so it would have made the fight exciting. I think a prime version of Tyson Fury, like the one that fought Wilder, would obliterate Haye, just because I think he's so big and so much bigger than David Haye. Like, he could lean on him, tire, and then David Haye definitely had an issue with stamina, especially when a guy would put it on him and put him in a fight. The David Haye that fought Tony Bellew, for me, was completely way past his prime. But I do think the best version of Haye doesn't beat the best version of Tyson Fury. But in terms of what David Haye had to say about this fight and about Tyson Fury adopting the strategy that he did with Wilder with Joshua, I do have to agree. Anthony Joshua is a more skilled fighter than Deontay Wilder. Like, Deontay Wilder was almost clueless when Tyson Fury started walking him down. He didn't know what to do. Going backwards, because Deontay Wilder just didn't know what to do. You know, because normally Deontay Wilder's a guy that's used to guys being scared of him, guys being petrified of him, and guys looking to box and move away and stay away from that right hand. Tyson Fury said, I don't care about your right hand. I'm walking straight to you. And let's see when the bully's bullied, how he reacts. And it clearly showed when the bully was bullied, right? He wasn't able to, he didn't have an answer. He didn't know what to do. He was clueless, almost. And Tyson Fury literally neutralized Deontay Wilder in that fight. But he did that with his brains. He did that with coming up with a strategy, because he probably saw in this 12th round of the first fight that this guy can't fight going backwards. And when you stick it on him, he's clueless. So Tyson Fury just started off from where he left off, or where he finished the first fight. He started off round 13 and basically did exactly the same thing as he did in the second half of the 12th round in the first fight throughout the whole fight. And Deontay Wilder was virtually clueless, and they planned for this. They planned for that. They saw that this guy can't fight going backwards. If I stick it on him, Wilder's not going to be able to do anything. And basically their plan worked out to a T. Now, in terms of doing that to Joshua, I believe it's a completely different fight. Joshua's a completely different fighter. Joshua has got a huge uppercut. Joshua's physically a lot stronger than Deontay Wilder. He's a lot heavier man. So Tyson Fury is not going to be able to bully Anthony Joshua the way he did to Deontay Wilder, push him around the ring. Deontay Wilder's not as strong physically, you know, as Anthony Joshua. This is how I think Tyson Fury will approach the fight. I think Tyson Fury will look to box. I think Tyson Fury will look to box him. Especially for the first half of the fight, he will definitely look to box AJ, right? Let AJ throw a lot of punches, make him miss, look to avoid it, and adopt the strategy that he did with Vladimir Klitschko. However, I don't feel, a lot of people think that Tyson Fury is going to adopt the strategy where he's just going to box him for 12 rounds and look to win a decision. right? I disagree with that. I believe Tyson Fury will look to box with him for the first 6 rounds and look to avoid and look to, you know, be the slick guy. However, I do think he will adopt the Deontay Wilder, the strategy he had for Deontay Wilder in the second half of the fight. I think he'll start putting more pressure on AJ, because although I'm saying that AJ is physically a lot stronger, which he is, than Deontay Wilder, and he's muscular and he's a lot heavier, and it's going to be hard to, especially early on when he's fresh and he's hungry and he's got that energy, right? It's going to be very hard to bully Anthony Joshua, and there's a great chance that Anthony Joshua could walk him, or if Fury's walking him down, he could walk onto something huge and get knocked out, right? There's a strong possibility, because AJ is a very skilled boxer, Olympic gold medalist, and he can punch. However, Anthony Joshua, when he's tired, that physical strength and that muscular physique and that strength that is an advantage early on in fights become a disadvantage. He almost struggles to carry that weight, to carry that strength in the late, you know, when he gets tired or when he gets caught with a shot. His body almost capitulates and falls apart, right? So, and I've seen that in a number of fights. I've seen that in the Vladimir Klitschko fight. If you go and watch the 6th round, Vladimir Klitschko was almost launching Anthony Joshua across the ring. I saw one point in the round 6, I believe, where Vladimir Klitschko got Anthony Joshua and just literally threw him across the ring, and Joshua, he wasn't in control of his body and he just went flying into the ropes. He literally didn't have any control over his body. Ruiz, exactly the same thing. That physical strength and that muscular physique almost became a disadvantage for Joshua. So I do feel that Tyson Fury will look to box with AJ, because that physical strength and energy and that power that he has early on in the fight will be an advantage to Joshua, and he could potentially knock Tyson Fury out if Tyson Fury adopts that strategy early on, which I think is very dangerous if he does that. However, when Joshua's tired and Joshua starts to wear down, which Fury will sense and see, right? Tyson Fury then will start adopting that strategy that he did with Deontay Wilder. Again, like I said, I don't know what's going to happen in the fight. Like, Joshua could catch him, and maybe if Joshua just is on top of the fight throughout from round 1 to the end, who knows? I just don't think that this fight, I think there'll be somewhere along the line where Joshua's going to he's going to start to fade, right? Because it's happened to him in a lot of his fights. He starts to fade, right? And also Joshua's now, I feel, doubts himself. People may say it's that he's more calculated, right, with the Pulev fight, where I felt like in the 3rd round when he had him hurt, he started hitting Pulev with everything, and Joshua started to tire. You see, when Joshua throws heavy combinations, that takes a lot out of him, right? And in this fight, he may have to throw heavy combinations because single punches won't do it. He's going to have to throw heavy combinations. Now, if he's missing, he's going to be tiring. And if he starts tiring, Fury will sense that. And a lot of people say Fury is not a big puncher. When Joshua's tired, you don't have to be a big puncher to hurt him or put him away. Trust me. You don't have to be a big puncher. When Joshua starts to tire, even a light puncher could hurt him and put him down. You know, Ruiz wasn't a huge puncher. By no stretch of the imagination is a huge puncher. Joseph Parker wasn't tittled by Ruiz in their fight. He didn't ever wobble, Parker. Parker was perfectly fine. But like I said, when Joshua gets hit with something, or when Joshua starts to tire, it doesn't take a lot to drop him. And Fury's a lot bigger man than Andy Ruiz. Yeah, he might not have maybe one punch power, and I don't think Ruiz has got great one punch power. I think Fury, if he puts his body weight behind his punch, I think he could punch. It could hurt Joshua. He could hurt Joshua with a single punch, no doubt about it. Some of those right hands that he landed on Wilder could hurt Joshua as well, no doubt about it. Let's not forget, Joshua's not a granite chin guy. This is a guy that's been hurt number of times throughout his career. You know, Dylan White hurt him. You know, Povetkin early on troubled him. You know, Ruiz hurt him. Vladimir Klitschko put him down. So let's not make out like this guy's got, some kind of granite chin. He hasn't. He can be put down. So I do feel that if Tyson Fury comes forward, I do agree with Haye. Tyson Fury comes forward like he did with Deontay Wilder, I believe there's a great chance that Joshua could knock him out or even hurt him early on in the fight. Because I don't think Fury will adopt that kind of strategy. Personally, I think Fury will adopt a safety first. He'll look to box on the back foot and look to box with AJ and let AJ come to him and make mistakes and probably look to counter him. make him miss and make him pay. Fury will be slick in that fight, trust me. He'll use his height, he uses his reach, he uses nimble feet, his great movement to basically make Joshua throw punches but miss. And I think for the first half of the fight, this is why I think Joshua could win a lot of the early rounds. Because like I said, Joshua is not going to do what Vladimir Klitschko did. Joshua, if he sees that Tyson Fury is avoiding his punches for 1 or 2 rounds and he's being slick, Joshua's going to start walking at him and start really going for it. Joshua's not going to wait and let things drift. Joshua doesn't seem or hit me as that kind of character. Joshua will go looking for Tyson Fury. There's no way Joshua's just going to let things drift and let Tyson Fury do what Deontay Wilder did and just win the rounds, or what Vladimir Klitschko do, just let the fight drift and let Fury win the rounds. Joshua's not about that. Joshua's going to walk him down and look to put it on him. He did the same with Vladimir Klitschko. Look, when Vladimir Klitschko was fighting, the fight was drifting, nothing was happening in the fight, and all of a sudden Joshua just sprung into life in the 5th round. Was it 5th or 4th round? I think it was the 5th, where he sprung into life, which backfired a little bit. But Joshua's not about that. He doesn't let the fight drift. If he feels the fight is drifting or nothing's happening, Joshua's going to put it on you. Look at the 5th round in that Vladimir Klitschko fight, right? He put it on him. Now, this may be a different Joshua to that Joshua. This is a more calculated, a more, in my opinion, after the Ruiz knockout, a lot more vulnerable Joshua, and a guy that's more calculated because he doesn't want to get hit or knocked out or knocked down. So it's going to be interesting to see whether he has that kind of gung-ho approach if the fight is drifting like he did with the Klitschko fight. But I do think with what's on the line, if Joshua can get over those demons mentally, I do think there'll be somewhere along this fight where he'll take the bull by the horns and look to come forward and look to put it on Tyson Fury, because he'll have to. If he doesn't, Tyson Fury, there's a great chance. If he lets this fight drift, Tyson Fury will just keep winning the rounds, right? He'll just keep winning the rounds. For me, Tyson Fury is the superior boxer. I know people say AJ, he's not. Fury's the faster guy. He'll land more punches and he'll avoid more punches. Joshua's a lot easier to hit, right? And Fury's a lot harder to hit. So the chances are Fury's going to land more punches on Joshua, and Joshua's going to find it a lot harder to land on him. So Joshua will eventually, somewhere along this, somewhere during the rounds, Joshua's going to have to take the bull by the horns and start sticking it on Fury. But if Fury does adopt the strategy that he did with Deontay Wilder, there's a great chance, yes, I do agree with Haye, there's a great chance that Joshua could take him out early. But I don't think he will. I don't think he will. Fury's too skilled. He's too intelligent, Fury. Honestly, Fury's so intelligent. I just can't see him looking to be reckless early on. I think with Deontay Wilder, it was a planned strategy, and they saw the weakness that Deontay Wilder had, that he can't fight going backwards, and I think they exploited that. I think with Joshua, I think they know that he's a lot more skilled and he's got a lot more about him than Wilder. They're just a big punch. Joshua's a lot more skilled. He's a lot more skilled fighter. So again, you have to be a lot more strategical in that fight. And again, I think Fury's a master boxer. I think he will come up with another game plan to look to beat Joshua. But yeah, I don't think he'll adopt that strategy. But if he does, he could be in trouble. I do agree with Haye. Leave your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.